Good evening. Welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. My name is John McCormick. I'm the mayor of this great town, and we're here tonight for actually the first time ever to celebrate EMS Week, which is something that I just learned from Director Niski. Goes back to President Gerald Ford in 1974. So it takes the town a little slow. We're a little slow sometimes. Sometimes it takes us 51 years to actually do something that makes a whole lot of sense, which is celebrate EMS Week and raise a flag in honor of all the men and women who serve our first aid squads as EMTs and keep people safe in Woodbridge Township. I'd like to first turn this over to our newly installed Police Director, Joe Niski, who has overseen the first aid squads in town for the township for the last many, many years, and ask Joe to say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the council. The mayor asked me to give you a brief synopsis of how we got here. All the way back in 2008, when I was still a lieutenant in the police department, the mayor had a plan for the police department to oversee EMS. In 2011, when I had the opportunity to become the deputy police director, quickly realized that most of the calls that our police officers were responding to had to do with delivering emergency medical services. So using our partners at the time, Avenel Colonia, Port Reading, and Woodbridge Township Ambulance and Rescue Squad, we had a plan to stage our ambulances throughout Woodbridge Township to break the traditional map of how we respond to calls and put GPS units on the ambulances and put a live map in dispatch so we could always respond an ambulance closest to the call. We also started training our police officers, and to date we have 28 sworn police officers that are also EMTs. So rather than officers showing up with just the first responder certification, almost any time of the day, we have a certified EMT working on patrol that could respond to these calls. Back in November of 2024, knowing that our call volume was going up and the system itself was being stressed, our new EMS manager was tasked with acquiring a license and starting the Woodbridge PD EMS and hiring 10 full-time EMTs. So that's how we got where we are. It's a wonderful celebration for all our EMS providers. They know how proud we are of the service they provide. They know that we know they do a great job, and I'm just happy to be in a position where I could oversee it and have a really wonderful EMS manager to run this operation day to day. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce the council members to my right. Immediately to my right, 1st Ward Councilwoman Sharon McAuliffe. To her right, 5th Ward Councilwoman Debbie Meehan. The middle in the green is Councilman at Large Brian Small. To his right, 2nd Ward Councilman Howie Bauer, covering Ford, Soap Lawn, and Caseby, and to his right, Councilman at Large Kyle Anderson. Let me introduce Brian Small, who goes way back with the Port Reading First Aid Squad. His father was actually a founder of that squad many, many years ago. He grew up there. I'm sure he was a little kid running around the place when his father was there for meetings and for different events. And he grew into a first aid responder himself. He grew in to work with the fire company, which of course in Port Reading shares the same building. They work incredibly well together. And he's got the third leg of public service, emergency services, I should say, which is he was a police officer for 25 years. So let me ask Councilman Small to please come up and say a few words on behalf of the council.
Thank you, Mayor. I had an opportunity to work with a lot of organizations in Woodbridge Township, but nothing's more near and dear to me than EMS. And 44 years later, which is hard to believe, but I'm still here, and I'm proud of the things we're doing. I'm proud of the direction that the town has led this EMS task force. You know, a lot of townships, a lot of towns that surround us just wipe their hands clean of EMS. we didn't. The mayor, the administration, the council took EMS to the highest level because the people of Woodbridge Township deserve the best service, and they're getting it. So when you call 911, whether it's for police, fire, or EMS, somebody's going to be at your door very quickly. Sometimes multiple people are going to be at your door. So it's something to be, very happy that, God forbid, you need something, we're all going to be here right away. I'm looking out into the crowd. I see Tony Kersey out there, over 50 years, Avenel Colonia. Rob Snowfield, over 50 years, Avenel Colonia. These are the people that I had an opportunity to work with. My father had an opportunity to work with. And, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into these squads. And it all paid off. It all paid off. To the director, to Dennis, to Steve Weber, you're doing a fantastic job. I appreciate everything you do. And to all the men and women that are EMTs with Woodbridge Township, thank you for all you do. Thank you.
So when we did decide to be more actively involved in the running operation of first aid in Woodbridge Township, we needed somebody to be the EMS manager, and we didn't have to look very far before realizing that Dennis Petrick, based on his experience working in the industry full-time, working as a volunteer firefighter, with all the credentials it takes to be this manager. We brought in Dennis, and he interviewed with everybody, and everybody loved him. He became the manager, and this program has become, as Director Niski said, under Dennis's leadership, with the 10 employees, 8 line employees, and 2 supervisors, it has worked out very well, incredibly well. And that's because of Dennis's leadership abilities, his demeanor, his personality, his leadership. He just has done a phenomenal job working for us. So we are going to present several different proclamations. They all read the same thing. I'm going to read one, but I'm going to call Dennis up and ask him to stand next to me as I read this proclamation. Dennis, please. Whereas Woodbridge Township Emergency Medical Services professionals serve as a vital link in the chain of emergency care, providing life-saving medical assistance in times of crisis, ensuring the health and safety of our community 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas Woodbridge Township Emergency Medical Services consist of highly trained and compassionate EMTs, paramedics, dispatchers, nurses, and first responders who serve with dedication and courage, often placing themselves in harm's way to protect the lives of others. And whereas Woodbridge Police Department EMS stands as a team of dedicated EMTs, along with certified volunteers and staff, working collaboratively to respond to hundreds of accidents and emergencies, to include disasters, health crises, and community needs, with expertise and commitment. And whereas the Township of Woodbridge recognizes Woodbridge Police Department EMS for their dedication to public safety on the 51st anniversary of Emergency Medical Services Week, and are especially grateful for their commitment to the Woodbridge Township community. Now therefore, I, John McCormick, Mayor of the Township of Woodbridge, in concert with the Township Council, do hereby proclaim May 18th to 24th, 2025 as Emergency Medical Services Week, and extend highest honor to Woodbridge Police Department EMS for their devotion to duty and public safety. Dennis, thank you very much for your leadership. Want to say a few words? No? Of course, I asked Dennis if he wants to say a few words. He said no. I'm betting everybody else I call up here is also going to say no. Let me call up a longtime friend, former police officer, another one with a great track record of emergency services in Woodbridge Township, Chief Robert Snowfield of Avenel Colonia First Aid Squad. I'm not going to ask him to speak because he might say yes. Want to say something?
No.
Okay, good. All right, next up, from Port Reading First Aid Squad, Chief Dan Egan. Next up, Colonia First Aid Squad, Squad Leader Erin Seneca is not here, but Sakit Shah is going to accept on her behalf. Congratulations. And from Woodbridge Township Ambulance and Rescue Squad, WTAR, Squad Leader Nicole Fanning. Congratulations, Nicole. And I'm sure we're going to want a picture of the 5 of them together, so we'll do that afterwards, but please don't leave. And now, it gives me great pleasure to do 2 more presentations for emergency response and life-saving action from Woodbridge Police Department EMS. And there's two proclamations. I'll read one of them, but it covers both people. It's EMT Jonathan Ryan and EMT William Regar. You guys would come up. Whereas on March 9, 2025, New Jersey State Certified EMT Jonathan Ryan, separate one for Mr. Regar, from Woodbridge Police Department EMS, in concert with each other, responded to Commander Patrick J. Dunn Court in the Ford section of the township for a first aid call involving a 30-year-old female in labor. Upon arriving at the location, Ryan and Regar, in concert with Woodbridge Police Officer Nicholas Iacovu, located the patient in active labor and timed her contractions at less than 1 minute apart. And whereas Ryan and Regar determined that the baby was crowning and proceeded to prepare the mother for delivery, and within minutes and 2 brief pushes, the infant was born. Boy, how many of you ladies would like to have experienced that? Ryan and Regar clamped and cut the umbilical cord, and Officer Iacobu wrapped the newborn in blankets for transport with the mother to the hospital. And whereas Ryan and Regar used their training and experience, assessed the medical situation, and assisted in the delivery of a newborn infant, are hereby recognized for their life-saving action before the Woodbridge Township first responder community and fellow EMTs. Ladies and gentlemen, perhaps that baby, and who knows, maybe the mom are alive today because of the actions that these two first aiders took, along with Nick Iacobu. So congratulations and thank you. That's you. Thank you, sir. And that one is you. And you want to say anything? Figured. Have to ask. All right, next up, last up, we have a proclamation for firefighter Kurt Delibero from Ford's Fire Company. And for the record, his younger brother Vinny just turned 30 on Saturday and had a great birthday party at the Monarch, ironically at the Woodbridge Township First Aid Squad. Whereas on March 3rd, 2025, firefighter Kurt Delibero, Ford's Fire Company, in concert with Woodbridge Police Officer Gary Thompson and Officer Riley Egan, responded to a report of a serious motor vehicle accident on the ramp to the truck lanes of the New Jersey Turnpike South in the Ford section of the town. Upon arrival at the scene, the first response team observed a motor vehicle accident involving a U-Haul van and a tractor trailer. The U-Haul van was wedged against the overpass with the seriously injured driver pinned inside the cab. And whereas Delibero, Thompson, and Egan scaled the railing abutting the overpass, and upon reaching the driver's side door, observed that the driver's left leg was shredded and bleeding profusely. Firefighter Delibero, under extremely dangerous conditions, engaged the jaws of life to gain access to the cab, used a reciprocating saw to cut through a metal partition and bolts that lowered the backrest to extract the driver from the mangled wreckage for transport to a hospital where he survived after treatment for leg fractures, collapsed lung, and bleeding on the brain. And whereas firefighter Delibero, utilizing training and expertise, secured access to the vehicle and successfully removed the seriously injured driver from the vehicle, and whereas Kurt Delibero is hereby recognized for his dedication to public safety before the Woodbridge Township first response community and fellow firefighters. And once again, we're honoring a first responder in Woodbridge Township for saving the life of somebody. You just can't get any better than that. You don't think you're going to do it when you go through all this training, but you know you're prepared to do it if you have to. And that's what happened to Kurt Delibero. He was ready, and he saved somebody's life. Congratulations, man. Good job. Want to say something? You sure? No, man, you're a hero. Nothing?
It's good.
All right, he's good.